Hi guys, welcome back. Just sitting out in the old backyard. Sun's going down behind me here, and I thought today I'd talk to you a little about inexpensive quality gear. We all like to watch gear videos, and we all like to watch people's kit videos, and I think we all tend to fall into the trap of whenever some new item is released that we feel that this is better than what we have, and we have to jump on the bandwagon. This isn't always the case necessarily, and sometimes it's best to keep things cheap and simple. Now, by cheap, I don't mean cheaply made. I mean inexpensive, quality made. Let me give you an example. Some years ago, I was fortunate enough to get a job with a very generous employer in a company that was doing very well. And one of the things my employer said was, look, as a bonus for you signing on here, I want to lease a nice vehicle for you. So, I was young, and I said, okay, how about like a Toyota Corolla or something? And he said, no, I want to lease a nice vehicle for you, and I'm going to make the lease payments. So, well, how could I refuse such a generous offer? So I ended up leasing a very expensive, very fast, exotic, performance sedan. Way beyond my price range, something that I never would have been able to afford otherwise. But I figured, well, I'm just going to be responsible for the lease payment, for the gas payments, and for any maintenance. My employer was picking up the monthly payment. Why not? So I got this vehicle, and almost immediately it made me anxious and nervous. The problem with having an expensive vehicle is that you worry about it constantly. I was worried about this vehicle all the time. Whenever I parked it in a questionable area, I always worried, is it going to be there when I get back? Is it going to be vandalized? Is it going to be broken into? Are my items going to be stolen? If I go to a supermarket, is someone going to nick me with their door? Constant stress. Now, all I really needed, in retrospect, was something reliable to get me from point A to point B. I didn't need a car with, air-conditioned seats. I didn't need a car with hundreds of features that I ended up not even using. But, again, my employer's generous offer, I took it. Well, 2 years into the 3-year lease, my employer got gravely ill, and he was forced to give up the business, and I found myself in search of a new job. Now, I had 1 year's worth of very expensive automobile lease payments, plus the maintenance and the gas and the insurance charges that I was paying before. When I sat down to figure it all out, it was costing me something like $700 a month out of pocket to maintain this vehicle, and that was money I didn't have. And I was in complete shock over this. Again, all I needed was something reliable to get me from point A to point B. It didn't have to be pretty, it didn't have to be, it just needed to be reliable. Well, long story short, I got out of that lease as fast as I could. I ended up paying, a penalty for breaking the contract, etc., etc. Lesson learned. But that experience kind of opened my eyes to what we really need in our daily lives, as opposed to what we want. After that experience with the car, my next car, I ended up buying a 8 or 9 year old used Jeep. I took probably $6,000 or $7,000 out of my savings. It hurt like hell to do that, and I bought this Jeep outright. And I kept the Jeep for about 5 years. And that Jeep suddenly freed me. I no longer had to worry about where I parked it, who was doing what to it. I could park in any space I wanted at the supermarket. It didn't matter anymore. It just kind of freed my mind up for other things. Now, yeah, it did hurt taking the money out and buying it, all up front. But, as they say, buy once, cry once. I no longer had lease payments. I no longer had really, really high insurance payments because, on an older vehicle, the insurance is lower. The only reason I ever even got rid of that Jeep was because I ended up selling it for more than I bought it. So, it was a great investment. I meticulously and methodically maintained it. And as I do, I'm currently driving a 15-year-old Ford Escape, small SUV, which I take care of. The car does not let me down, and I'm going to keep it for as long as I can. That's just me. If you can afford $700 a month for lease payments, more power to you. But okay, what does this have to do with gear? Well, again, going back to what I was saying in the beginning, we tend to get seduced by the latest and greatest. And I just want to show you some items which don't cost a lot of money that will benefit you in your outdoor endeavors and are quality items that have stood the test of time. And let's start with the knife. Now, you can go out and you can spend $300 on a bushcraft knife. But to me, that would be like the expensive leased automobile that I didn't really need. Ultimately, you need a knife to cut cord, you need a knife to, baton wood, you need a knife to do everyday bushcraft or camp tasks. And there's no reason in my mind to spend that kind of money. If I had that kind of knife, I probably would never take it out because I'd be afraid of losing it or breaking it or, whatever. So what do I suggest? Well, here's a knife that has stood the test of time. This is an old hickory butcher knife. A butcher knife. Wow, you've lost your mind. No, this is a great knife. It's full tang. It's carbon steel. The spine is at a perfect 90-degree angle for striking a ferro rod. Throws off huge amounts of sparks. It's got a nice hefty weight to it. It's not the thickest steel, but it's really all you need for batoning wood, for carving, for skinning, whatever you need this knife for. I'm no knife person, but I do enjoy a quality item at a reasonable price. I haven't made any modifications to this except to take a piece of sandpaper and just smoothen out the edges a little bit. But this knife is quality construction. It's made in America. It fits my hand very nicely, and I think it's just the perfect knife. $10. Really, $10. You can buy this on Amazon. Sometimes I've seen it as low as $8 or as high as $11. But for $10, you really can't go wrong with this knife. I like this knife so much that I bought a $10 sheath for it. So the sheath costs as much as the knife, but the two of them together, I think, just make an unbelievable package. This is a sheath to a 7-inch K-bar knife. Anyone who's interested, you can buy this on Amazon. But it fits the old hickory knife perfectly. It looks good, it carries well. $20 tops, but you don't need this fancy leather sheath. You can make do with a cloth sheath or make one yourself out of a PVC pipe or something, but $10, you can't go wrong. Next item, cordage. Now, the old timers, I'm sure, would have loved to have had paracord. Everybody has paracord. Everybody loves paracord. 5-stranded paracord, 7-stranded paracord, 550 strength. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye on my dog here. But paracord can be pricey. I've seen paracord for, $20 a roll. And let's face it, we don't like to cut our paracord, do we? It's kind of like one of those items where we save it for emergencies, but we never use it. So, do you really need this fancy, expensive nylon paracord? Well, there are natural substitutes you can buy. This is a roll of jute twine. Jute twine is actually very strong for its size. And this one here has a 7-pound strength. Okay, it's not 550 pounds, but it's plenty strong to hold a tarp up or to lash a couple of sticks together to make a tripod. You can just take a hank of it with you. Very, very lightweight. You can burn it, use it as tinder. It catches a spark very nicely. You know, why not? If you want to go a little higher tech, you can go to the hardware store and get some mason line. This has been in use for a while. This is 8-pound strength, you know, a little better, but this varies. You can buy a roll of it for maybe $3, which this has like 35 pounds strength, tensile strength. So again, this isn't natural like this is, but it'll get the job done. You can carry the whole 1,000 yards with you, or whatever this particular roll is. This one is 225 feet. The jute twine is 190 feet. And we're talking about $2 here. You know, you don't want to cut into your fancy, expensive paracord. Bring some jute twine. Fire making. Yeah, it's nice to have that fancy piezoelectric lighter, but do you really need it? I mean, for a long, long time, people made do with matches. I love these. They're strike anywhere matches, and literally, you don't need the striker. It comes with a striker on it, but a rock, something abrasive will do. Some of the old timers would light it on their teeth. I can't do that, and I wouldn't try it even. But as long as the match has the white tip, you know it's a strike anywhere match. There are 300 of them in here. You can waterproof them by putting a little wax on them, or Thompson's water seal, or clear nail polish. It all works. And carry 25 of these in a little waterproof bag or little bottle. You're good to go. $2, $3 tops. Doesn't have to be expensive. Again, have a backup, but you know, don't discount matches just because it's an old technology. They still work. Another item, leather. Leather, what can you do with this? Carry a piece of leather with you. Use it as a pot holder. You can strop your knife with it. This is just, you know, a piece of wood with a little piece of leather glued to it, and it just brings the edge right back to your knife after you use it. Very, very practical. You can either use the back of your leather belt. I mean, scraps of leather you can find in any craft store. Here's one I just purchased for about $4. Nice big piece of suede. You know, a lot of uses. Lasts, you know, a long, long time, and the function of it is limited just by your imagination. So, nice piece of leather, always good to have. Containers. It's got to pick up the pace a little bit because it's getting dark. You can get a fancy bottle, cup. You can spend maybe $50 for a titanium one. Do you need to? You know, I just went to the local supermarket recently and I got this stainless steel enamel coated cup. About $4, made in Peru. I don't know. It seems to be a quality item. I'm sure I could put this on the fire. I could heat with it. You know, less expensive even than this, and a less elegant looking one is this other just aluminum cup. I also found this at the same supermarket I got this. I've used it a lot, as you can see. You don't need the fancy, you know, exotic car. The basic automobile will do the same job. Same thing with a pot. You know, you can spend money on a billy can, for example, but this Amusa type pot, this isn't an Amusa, but it's similar. IM USA is a brand name, but does the job. It boils water. You don't even need the top, just a piece of aluminum foil, and you're good to go. Finally, beeswax. You can find this on Amazon or craft stores, hobby shops. Carry a piece of beeswax with you. Literally 101 uses. You can coat that jute twine, make it even stronger. Thread for when you're sewing. You can use it to prevent rust on your tools. You can use it as a lubricant. You can waterproof items with it. You know, if you rub some of this on a shoe, for example, and just put your hair dryer on it, It goes right into the leather, waterproofs. It's got a great smell. You can even eat this in a pinch. I wouldn't recommend eating a large quantity of it, but it's a natural item made by bees. It's got a very high melting point, so I mean, even on a hot day like today, it doesn't melt. I mean, why not? Why not have an item like this? If you read history, and if you read the history of the pioneers, come here, you'll see that they made out with items just like this, and it's all you need. Excuse me one moment, the dog is running off. Got him. He doesn't normally run away, but something caught his eye. Well, thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you again on the next video. And remember, expensive isn't always better.